hit their targets, helping them to remove constraints, things that hold them back from achieving those things. And yeah, so basically that's what I do. Performance. I'm a performance guy. And so today we're going to be looking at our goals. Just a second. Okay. Just a minute.
So,
okay, perfect.
Yeah, sorry for cutting you short. Just to let everyone know, we're going to be recording this session. So, in case I've already started the recording already, so I just wanted everybody to know. Thank you, Mr. Sam. You can go ahead.
Okay, so we all know that goals are very important to our personal lives or our businesses, and if you don't have goals, it will be difficult to measure your progress. I think it was the management guru Peter Drucker that said, "What you can't measure, you can't improve." And so goals are very vital, and that leads me to my definition of a goal. Now I know, we all have different definitions of what a goal is or what a goal means to you personally or to your business, right? But the one I like the most is the one that says that a goal is not a place or an output you're looking for, but a place you live from, right? From a position you live from. So most people are chasing from, like, I know, yes, it's still, when you look at it, it still means like from point A to point B. But in reality, a real goal, when properly defined and properly set, is where you live from. So by that, I mean that, say, for example, the architect, when he's building a house, he starts with the blueprint first. And the blueprint to determine what the outcome of the house will be. So when you see the design, the drawings of the house, and say, okay, I like this, change that. And that way you're sure of the kind of output you will get at the end of the day, right? And so that's it, where you live from, a place you live from, not just a place you're trying to go to. Now, so I believe that when we start the year, everybody's, shouting my New Year's resolution. I have this goal, I have that goal, I want X amount of money, and all of that. But most people just have wishes, or they're not really goals. What most people do are not really goals, and those things are bound to fail. So even for your business, it's important that you set goals, not just for your personal life or personal growth, but for your business as well. So your business, for example, things like, I'm sure we all know about the SMART goals. They have to be, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound, right? We know how to set goals in that manner. So meaning that when you wake up at the beginning of the year, January, or for example, now it's a new month. Today is the 1st of July. Happy new month, by the way. We set goals. What do we want to achieve by the end of July? So it's the middle of the year already, and I'm going to take us through some strategies that I have that hopefully will help us to, to achieve the goals we've set. For those that have goals and those that don't have goals, hopefully they're able to set goals and achieve something before the year or by the end of the year, right? So I'll start by saying perspective is everything. Perspective is very important. And I'll start by saying that you do not see the world the way it is, you see it as you are. I repeat, we do not see the world the way it is, we see it as we are. Now, okay, so Nigeria lately, all the changes that have happened, so there's issues of fuel, everything has gone up, inflation and all of that, right? I'm sure we all agree that there are certain people that, in spite of what is happening, are still going to be very rich, or still going to make a lot of money, are still going to hit their goals for the year. And then there's this other group of people that, because of what has happened, right? Because of what has happened, they will not achieve their goals. They will shrink. They will shrink back and say, oh no, after all, everything that's happened, I don't think it's possible to achieve this goal again. They shrink back. So there are two classes of people. And the goal of today's meeting is to make sure that we align, we move towards the group of people that will achieve their goals in spite of what's happening around. So I'm going to talk about the 4 R's for goals today. And so it's the media already. So I'm going to do what I call like a media review of our goals. So one thing that is very important that we need to have is flexibility. Flexibility is very important. Say, for example, you start out the year saying you want to, maybe you run a business. Or let's say you're in the transport business, for example. And the cost of fuel went from 187 to like 2 something first last year. And then it jumped to, I think it's 304, no, 550 now, right? Or 537 we're getting from NNPC. Now, because of what has happened, some people's businesses will close down, will shut down, and some people will readjust. Now, it is very important at times like this, right? The kind of mindset you need is one that is flexible. Because if you're not flexible, you're rigid. If it has to be this way, if I don't get it this way, I'm not going to do the business. It means that you're going to run out of business, right? So one key is flexibility. You're going to have to be very flexible. You're going to learn how to adjust in this period, to adjust. Now, when I say adjust, does that mean that you should not, pursue what you were pursuing before? No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that the goal can be static, right? But the method to achieve it is adjustable. You need to be flexible, fluid in that area. Okay, so talking of the 4 R's to adjusting the goals. So you start first of all. So it's the media already, middle of the year. Today's the 1st of July, right? So you take your goal. Let's assume the goal is to earn 20 million naira. We're all business people here for the most part. 20 million naira, right? And then you say, okay, it's media. And I thought by my plan or calculation, I should have achieved at least 5, 6, or even 4 million by now, and I haven't achieved it yet. So what the review will help you do is to look at the goal again and say, okay, look, what goal did I set at the beginning of the year? How far have I come? Am I coming close to it? Now, one problem I must state out that people have is that they set goals at the beginning of the year, but they don't review it constantly. So they know that they have goals, right? But they do not see that goal every day. So for example, I have a goal to lose X amount of weight, right? By the end of the year. Oh, let's say I want to lose 10 kg by the end of the year, right? One of the things that will help you, constant review of your goals, seeing your goals every day, is yes, you're going to make plans and you're going to set processes in place that will help you achieve that goal. But you need to constantly see it. For example, if possible, it can be this serious. You can put it as a screensaver. It's something that is important to you. Or but there's something people do every day. They review their goals daily. They look at the goals every day. And they say 20 million this year. By the end of December 2023, I have 20 million. Then your health goals, for example, I have X and X amount of money, right? Or I've lost X and X amount of weight. How do I do it? What happens is that the more you see the goal, the more you see it every day, it registers in your subconscious. You tell your mind every day that this thing is important to me. And because it is important, I will do things that are in alignment with the goal, right? But imagine someone that sees his goal once in 2 weeks or once in a month. So there was the hype at the beginning of the year. I'm going to earn such and such an amount of money. But notice there's going to be a difference. The person that is always looking at the goal every day, there's something which reminding him that, look, I have to do something today to reach this goal. I have to do something, or have I done something today to reach this goal? Against the person that sees it today. And the thing about it is that our mind is bombarded by information every single day. Okay, so psychologists say as much as over 1 billion or 2 billion, some say more, bits of information per second. So your mind by default is going to be distracted, but the thing that is in focus will be there. Okay, so for example, the psychologists say that 2 to 4 or 5%, right, of what you do every day is conscious. The remaining 95% or so is unconscious. The remaining 95% unconscious. So for example, if in your business, let's say last year you did 1 million, this year you desire to do 5 million, right? It means that you're going to have to make certain changes in your business, because insanity, they say, is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. It means you have to step up in some areas, cut some things off. You have to do all those things. So it means that you have to walk in the consciousness of the goal that you have in front of you. So so your mind and your subconscious mind, is always constantly seeing it. And what you see every day, you remember, right? So that's one of the R's. You review, then you reevaluate, and then you check. What does it mean to reevaluate? You come back, like it's 6 months already. You now go back and look at your goals. Okay, let's reevaluate this goal. This goal I set at the beginning of the year, is it really valid now with the economic situation? Is it really valid? You ask yourself that. Is it valid? Because if you don't, you might be running with an old script that does not work again, that used to work 6 months ago, or that used to work 3 months ago. But with the current situation on ground, it no longer works. So you need to constantly reevaluate. Okay, so this goal that I had all year, that I set at the start of the year, is it still valid? Can I still achieve it? So you need to ask yourself those questions. Whether personal or business, you need to ask yourself, can I still achieve it? Is it possible? Because if you don't, you'll be running with old information in a different time. And one of the biggest things that humans struggle to do is change. And the truth about it is that the world is constantly changing. And so to get the best out of the business or the world around you, is you need to learn to change as the world is changing. We will all agree that COVID changed the way work and businesses were run before. People never really believed in the concept of working from home before, but now, because of COVID, people had to adjust, right? And to me, when this change in the removal of subsidy and all of that happened, it reminded me of COVID, right? And reminded me that, look, it's time to readjust, it's time to change again, right? Because if you don't change, you'll be stuck where you are, and all you have is complain. You will complain and complain and complain about what is working, how the government is bad. And the truth about, I'm sure we also hear people say things like, the old days were better than now. I can bet if you go and ask our parents, they'll tell you the same thing. In their time too, they said the old days are better than now, right? So it's something that there's nothing new under the sun. These are cycles that repeat themselves, and the best thing we can do is to learn from them. So we review, we reevaluate our goals. Check, does this goal, the way I set it before, is it still going to be possible with the going rates of things? For example, talking about businesses, right? Fuel, if you run a transport business, for example, fuel, you have to review. It means that if you wanted to earn 10 million at the end of the year, it means you have to at least double it to 20 million. Because if you still earn 10 million, it means you're going to run at a loss, right? So it means you have to upgrade your goal. Yeah, you have to upgrade your goal. So it's very important that we excuse me. Yeah, it's very important that we reevaluate those goals. It's very important. And then when we reevaluate them, then we now come to a place where we now redefine the goals. Right? Remember I said 4 R's? We review first, reevaluate, then now you redefine the goal. Using the current situation on ground now, you cannot run with the same budget you had at the beginning of the year. You can't. It will be a fool's journey you're taking. Trying to use the price of, you run at a loss, whatever the business you're in, you have to upward review your prices, right? Redefine it. So like I said earlier, just a moment ago, if it's going to take you, it was going to take you 10 million before, it's now going to take you at least 20 million or so to achieve it, or the profit you want from it. So you have to redefine it and go back and check the goals. Okay, am I setting the right goals? And this is very important, like I said. Some people set goals, but they don't set the right goals. They don't set the right goals, right? And so say I'm in a coaching business, coaching space, right? And I know that the kind of people I need, for example, I like to coach business owners, managers, people that that run things and are in a place of authority and stuff. I like to work with them, right? So imagine I now take my business and I now go and meet um, a bunch of people that are struggling, that don't even know that don't even understand what coaching is, for example. I will be safe. If part of my goals to reach my clients is to meet those people, it means I'm setting the wrong goal, right? So you need to understand, so you need to define your goal. You need to know who your target audience is, who are the people that need your service, that need the goal. You need to define it, right? Know the right people to be. And then secondly, you need to set your own goals. Let me say it again, you need to set your own goals. It's funny but interesting that I found this to happen over and over again. I have done it. A lot of us do it, is that we set the goals we have are not our own. Let me repeat. The goals most of us have are not our goals. They're other people's goals. Say, for example, I sit behind CEO of Tribe Media. We're at the conference, and then all of a sudden, they say we're setting goals. Somebody now says, I want to earn 100 million this year or before the year finishes. Have you noticed that most times, if you're close to them or you're in the same space, you might want to take something close to that amount unconsciously, right? And I found out that most times when we take other people's goals, we never achieve them because they are not ours. Because the person's why is not our why. Why the person chose that goal is not the same reason why you're taking the goal, because what is pushing you towards that goal is different, right? So you need to know your own goals. You need to make sure that the goals you have, right, that you've had from the beginning of the year, right, are they really your goals? Because if they are your goals and if there's a strong why to achieve them, you will achieve them, but there's a stronger possibility you achieve them. But if the goal is a borrowed goal, most times, most often than not, people never achieve those goals because they are not theirs, right? So imagine someone that is setting a goal that someone that is on scholarship, for example, comes from a poor home, didn't have the parents struggled or he managed to get scholarship, and he said, you know what, I'm going to get a first class. I'm going to work hard to get a first class because I know where I'm coming from, right? And then you deciding like, me too, I'll get a first class. Notice there's a likelihood that because your why is not as strong as his, he will achieve his and you will not achieve your own, even though you had the same goals. And that's what we do a lot of time. We borrow people's goals. There's nothing wrong with borrowing people's goals. We can allow people's goals to inspire us, right, to change, to achieve more. But we must own those goals. We must own them, right? And when we own them, when it becomes our own, we can now set it to fit our lives. And then it brings me to this part where, after we own them, those goals, one of the reasons why some people will not achieve their goals or why some will achieve their goals is because it is not congruent with their values and their beliefs, right? Their values and their beliefs. So let me tell you a quick story. I coached a guy 2 years ago. He's a big deal. He's a hedge fund manager, right? And he got into the space. So he was looking for bigger investments. So he had gotten an investment of about £100,000, right, to run his business, the hedge fund. He wanted something bigger. Now I'm talking about values and beliefs now. Now, your beliefs, right? Let me say this first. Your beliefs will always drive your behavior. Your beliefs will drive your behavior, always. So if you believe, for example, that we do not borrow money for business, and you need to expand your business, and the only thing available at the time is loans from businesses or this thing, you know that it will be hard to grow that business because of that belief of not borrowing. I'm not saying it is a wrong belief. I'm just using it as an example of how our beliefs affect our goals, right, and our values. So this guy I'm talking about, let's call him X. X wanted to expand his business. Now, notice, he is very influential. He has people around him that have what he was looking for. But because of his beliefs, certain beliefs he had, he was very, very all these people that any little thing they'll say things like, I'm not sure his money is clean, right? People like that. So that thing held him back. He was always suspecting people. Say, I'm not sure about the source of his money, source of his money. So one of the areas where how we got breakthrough was I had to paint some scenarios to him. For example, I said, because he used to work at a bank before, and I said, this bank that you used to work at, do you collect salary at the end of the month? I said, yes. I said, okay, fine. So what if the owner of the money, do you know how he got his money to start the bank? He said no. I said, what if he used to be a thief before? Would you still collect the money? Then he now woke up and said, okay, I don't really know how much. And I said, okay, I'm not saying be careless, right? As to how you collect people's monies or how you raise funds. I'm saying do not let your pessimism, right, to get the best of you and close your eyes from potential investors. Because he had someone that was ready to give him $1 million, but he couldn't access it. Not because he wasn't there, but because his beliefs and values about money stopped him. So you need to review your beliefs and your values. Okay, business. What do you think? What are your beliefs on money? What are your values on money? Do you believe that you must make, some people are so over ambitious. There's nothing wrong with ambition, but some people make money at all costs, right? What do your values and your beliefs say? They determine how far you go, whether or not you achieve your goal. So I use that example to say that your goal, whatever goal you have, the possibility that it will be achieved or not achieved is tied to your values and your beliefs. It is very strongly tied to it. And your values and your beliefs are the things that run your life. So I said earlier, your subconscious mind is 95% and your conscious mind is 5%, right? And the things that make for your subconscious mind are your values and your beliefs, your culture, your environment, how you grew up. And if those things do not support growth, right? Now, I'm talking on an individual level now, but it also translates in a business place, because I'm sure I'll use the word, maybe small businesses, in the sense that, we're not there yet, right? And you are the business for now, you are the face of the business, or you're the one that drives the business. And what drives your business is, since you're the person that drives it, it means that everything you're bringing along, your beliefs, your values about money, about business, about growth, is going to affect the business. So if you have a small mindset, your business is going to remain small. If you have a growth mindset, your business will keep growing, right? And so that's why it's very important. I'm going to camp here on beliefs and values, because they're like the foundation of how our goals are achieved, both business-wise and personal-wise, right? And so you need to ask yourself, so I want you to take notes. What are my beliefs around money, right? What are my beliefs around money? What are my values around money? Now, in 2020, I did a group coaching session, right? And we were talking about money, and there was a guy there. He used to be a banker. Well, I think in the early 2000s, he used to do well for himself. He used to earn quite a bit. And then he now has a transport business and I think a pure water business, something like that, at the time of coaching. And so we started to now ask the question like I'm asking you now. What are your beliefs around money? What does money mean to you? And the guy gave the weirdest answer. And it was a preview into his beliefs and his values around money. This man said, money equals sorrow. You get that? He said, money equals sorrow. So I now said, okay, what do you mean by money equals sorrow? Then he started to explain to us. He said, when he was little as a child, his father used to be very wealthy, right? And people used to come around always. The house was always full. People were always there. They were coming, but when the father went a bit broke and, things weren't the way they used to be, people stopped coming. So unconsciously as a child, he took that thing, he kept it at the back of his mind, that it was okay to earn money as long as it was not too much to attract too many people, because he didn't want to replay what happened to his father. He didn't want it to happen in his life again, right? So it was his struggle. And so even though he had businesses, that one of those businesses alone should do more than 2 million a month. He wasn't doing more than 2 million a month with two businesses. And you wonder why. Why? Because, like I said, your values and your beliefs will drive your behavior, right? And it's very critical at this point because what you believe about, I started by saying that you do not see the world the way it is, right? You see the way you are, right? You see, and what are you made up of? Your values, your beliefs, your culture, your upbringing, your environment, your education, all of those things combined together define you. And so, even if there is abundance in a place, if what you believe is anti-abundance, right? You will see the world, you will not see what is in front of you. You will always see it in a way of no poverty, no, everybody that has more drives a big car. How many of us here, we grew up with that? Anybody that drives a big car, they tell you the person was corrupt, the person was a thief. With a raise of hands, how many people? When you were small, you heard that thing. Everybody that that drives a big car is a thief. Nobody here. Okay, so some of us when we grew up, we heard things like that, right? And it formed a mindset. So some people just see, or for example, ladies here. Every girl that has a car, young girl that has a car is doing runs. Anybody heard that one? Or a girl that's doing well for herself is doing runs, right? So it's a mentality, it's a mindset, and it affects the way people. Okay, quick one. A friend of mine in Kaduna, she's a fashion person. She does her business and she does some other extra jobs, right? And she had enough money to buy a car for herself, and she's going to improve her image as a business person, her personal life, going to give her some form of comfort, to say the least. She was going to buy the car, but she didn't buy it. Guess why? Her mother told her that it would chase men away from her. It's a belief. It's a mindset. And because of that, when she was telling the story, she was regretting why, because she used the money for something else. She was regretting why she didn't buy the car. And on the contrary, it was going to improve her image. And personally, I felt it was going to even filter the kind of men that are going to come to her. Right? So your beliefs and values are very important as to how your business operates. Because if you have a growth mindset, right? You translate it into your business and to help you achieve your business goals. If you have a shrinking mindset, what is happening now in Nigeria, right, will cause you to reduce your goals and to shrink back and say, man, this thing is not going to work. And because of that, and something happens every time. When we start to say things like that, we start to mix with people that have the same mindset, right? It will reestablish that belief that it's true. There's no money in Nigeria. People know that thing that there's no money in Nigeria. They say there's no money on the plateau, for example. How many people know that? Have heard that thing? You have to go to Lagos, Abuja. And I'm like, it's not true. What circles are you in? What business are you in? Can you make millions here? Of course you can. Does that mean you must stay here? No. Environment is important too, but sometimes we need to, remove some certain things that have held us back from achieving our goals. Imagine you wanted to be a fisherman, but you're staying in Jos. You will not catch fish. You understand? So it's important. And then lastly, you need to re-engage. When you now walk around your mind, you walk around your mindset, you walk around, you check the goals. Is it still valid? Do I need to upgrade it? Do I need to reduce it? Is this goal realistic? There are some goals that we said that actually are not realistic, right? Someone that did not earn 1 million last year wants to earn 100 million this year. It is not a realistic goal. So ask yourself things like that. Is it realistic? Then you come back, okay. Then you now say, okay, now that I've found out all these things, I have done an assessment of my goals, right? My business goals, my personal goals. It's now time to re-engage. And re-engage, what I mean by that is action. It's now time for action. 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 What steps do I need to take? Some people, why you've not achieved your goals and why you might not achieve your goals is because you do not have the necessary skills to achieve them. So the goals you set first is how to acquire the skills to achieve those goals. Or in other words, it's not everything you must do yourself. Who can do this thing that I need to achieve this goal? So you need to ask yourself those kind of questions. What would you require? And when you do that, then you can also take taking action. And action is very important, because if you don't take action, everything we talked about will be useless. And lastly, there's something we say, they say failure is feedback. There is no failure, only feedback. Meaning that if you look at January till now, right? If you haven't achieved your goals yet, or you're not close to achieving them, don't look at it as failure. Go back and check. What it's simply telling you is that the activities you've been doing have given you a certain amount of results, meaning that you might have to change, tweak, stop, start, or increase certain things you're doing. Right? So look at it as feedback, then go back and run through these 4 hours again on your own, review, reevaluate, redefine, and re-engage, and then engage with massive action, because you have just 6 months to go. The first 6 months came and ran quickly. The next 6 months to do the same thing. So as it's running, you also need to hit the ground running. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I've been writing a lot and actually tweeting most of what you said, and personally, I got a lot of things from the things you shared, and I'm sure that most of our listeners also got a lot of value from it. Please, if you have any question, I think we can open up the floor for a few questions. And we have a comment already. Damien said, thank you so much. It was really insightful. So we have a few minutes for questions before Esther comes in and continues from here. So please, if you have any question, I'll be the best time to ask a question.
Any questions?
So I think I should just ask one. So
okay.
People have not started asking already. So what would you say to people that how should I phrase this question? Yeah, there's a lot of people that don't use any goal setting. They don't really set goals, but they also achieve a lot. In that situation, what would you say works for this particular set of people?
Okay, so okay, it's interesting, but the thing is that we set goals consciously and unconsciously, right? But what I'm bringing to you is how to now not just do it unconsciously, but do it consciously. Like, look, I want to do this. Like, do you know that look, I said we set goals unconscious, and some people, because it's unconscious, they don't really come out and say, look, this and that, but their minds are fixed on something and they go after it. That's why I say, so someone said man is a goal-setting animal, right? We are always running after something. We are always in pursuit of something. But what makes it more interesting is when you can now bring it and define and say, look, this is where I want to go to, this is what I want to achieve, right? So you're doing it not just unconsciously. Do you know that, like I said, we set goals consciously and unconsciously. Do you know that we set goals to fail too, and we set goals to succeed? Right? Because everything you do is towards something, is towards a goal. From what you eat every day is towards a goal, to either put on weight or lose weight, unconsciously. So what we're doing now is we're trying to bring it out of that unconscious state to a conscious state where you become that 5% of your conscious mind, right, is now actively selecting the goals you want, not just leaving it to your unconscious mind. So every day you wake up, there's a goal you're chasing after. And the goal might be to achieve nothing or to achieve something. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So do you have any other questions, or Sam was able to like pass a lot of value without any problem, I guess. So Mr. Sam, thank you so much for taking your time to do this. I really appreciate it. Personally, I got a lot, and from the comments we got, people also got value. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
So Our next speaker today is Esther Ivy. Esther is someone that I've known for a long time, and she's actually very, very experienced. She started doing what she's doing right now at a very young age, and she's grown so much that she has even left us in jobs, and she's currently in Lagos. So Esther, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to do this. Welcome. Please, can you just introduce yourself and then just tell us a little bit about you, and you can just go ahead. And also, I see MJ is tweeting. Please, if you can just tweet or share something using the hashtag tries for me, we really appreciate that. So thank you. So, Esther, please, the floor is yours.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Please let me know if you can hear me clearly.
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Fine. So, my name is Esther Ivy Felix, and I've basically worked with content for approximately 5 years. And I started off majorly just writing, and then it grew into wanting to be deliberate, or rather providing excellence in what I do. And I recently served as a content marketing manager with a data infrastructure company, and I left them, I think, last month. And currently, I'm with a Web3 company as a contributor. So, majorly, my expertise is in content strategy and content marketing, and that's what I'll be focusing on for the essence of today's session.
Thank you so much, Esther. You can go ahead.
Okay, so I will be sharing my screen because I feel like that's going to help you learn faster. So I try to put up a few things on a presentation, so that will help, and I think that will be made available to everyone as soon as I'm done with this session. So basically, this session is focused on how to create a winning content strategy. And the idea is that as a business owner or someone who intends to start a business, you intend to put out your content on online, not necessarily on social media, using any of the online platforms available. So in, I think, roughly 12 steps, I would show you how to get that done in less than 30 minutes. So let's get started. And and most of the time people will tell you that content is king, content is king. And as much as that is true, it's very important that we understand how essential content is, especially when we want to reach out as a business, like a small business especially. You know that you have a limited budget. You know also that you don't necessarily have traction on your social media, or you have limited resources available to you. So you're trying to maximize the resources you have. So how then are you able to provide quality content and ensure that you're able to redistribute this content properly? So a winning strategy is one that is aligned with your business goals, as you heard in the first session, targets the right audience. So you get to know who are you speaking with. You're not just talking to everybody. That helps you to tailor your content properly, and it's created with the highest quality. So you're not creating a content that, for instance, you're not posting pictures of your business on social media that probably has how do I put it, that has a quality of maybe 144 pixels. The drop in quality would reduce the trust that people have for you. So when people see that that the quality of pictures or videos or any media content that you put out is not qualitative enough, that begins to draw some sort of doubt in them that, okay, I don't think this person is trustworthy enough for me to do business with. So ensuring that your business goals, your content strategy is in line with your business goals. What do we intend to achieve with this business? Are we reaching out to the right people? And is our content good enough or best enough to attract these people? Then you're on your way to getting a quality content strategy. So get that started now. And very importantly, quality content is not just bluff. So I try to explain what quality content is. So content is the fuel that drives engagement, builds relationships, and ultimately fuels business success. So let me put it this way. You're not just posted on social media, for example, to fulfill a religious duty or religious task, or to tick off a task out of your list or schedule for the day. You're deliberate enough to drive engagement. So you're in a way, you're trying to you're expecting feedback, or not necessarily feedback, you're expecting an action in return from these people that you're reaching out to. So maybe this person is going to like, this person is going to follow, and later in the future want to reach out to you to do business with you. So this content must provide value. You're not just posting because probably you want to catch up with trends or you just want to post. The content must answer, good content answers questions. So that's why first mentioned understanding your target audience. What is their pain point? What questions are bugging them? How can I provide value enough in my content that would answer their questions and make them feel the need to trust me? So also, good content is valuable. In a world overloaded with content, the key is to create content that stands out and adds value. And we see this every day. For instance, you're trying to scroll through Twitter, and recently I think I've felt actively bombarded by the content that I've had to deal with. I'm just scrolling through Twitter and I'm just seeing all sorts of content. So how best are you able to tailor your business content to reach the right people? Because now in my head, most of the time when I'm scrolling through Twitter and I see a business, I'm just like, okay, this person is just making noise most of the time. So how do you get to draw the attention of the right people and don't scare them, because there's just a whole lot happening online and you have to be creative enough to provide value. So the first thing is understanding your target audience, and I've already explained that. Who are you trying to reach with your content? So if you have a business where you're probably selling shoes, and female shoes to be precise, you understand that your target audience are not going to be guys, and the shoe sizes you sell are probably maybe from size 39 to 42. You understand that, okay, within this age range of probably from an 18-year-old to a middle-aged young lady, this could be your target audience. So you're not going to target little kids or babies or men. So you understand these are the people that I'm reaching out to. What are their interests? If, for instance, you are selling majorly flat shoes, you are trying to sell convenience. So personally, I don't like heels. So I'm always of the opinion that it's not comfortable to work with. So if you're trying to reach out to a target audience of my sort, you're going to sell to the convenience. So I can effortlessly run with my shoes. I can effortlessly do anything I intend to do without having to pull off my shoes in case of any emergency. So what are the pain points that I'm having that your product is going to help me solve? Conduct a market research to understand them better. So this is very practical, because I know that most of the time people say, understand your target audience, who are you talking to and all of that. But personally, I've seen that, especially working in a B2B environment, I've seen that I've had to deliberately, there are times where we deliberately have to run a market research and find out, especially because we're doing it's a B2B setting, so it's business to business. You're trying to understand who are the people in these businesses we're targeting, what are their day-to-day struggles, and how can we solve the problem, or how can this product solve a problem? So we have authentic research to prove that we understand this audience. We're not just using our insights, our head knowledge. We're using practical proof to show that, okay, we understand what these people are going through. Then the next thing to do is to create a buyer persona. So a buyer persona is more like it's a fictional how do I put it? It's a fictional character of who your target audience is. So basically, I'm selling. Let me use a practical example I've recently had to work with. So I'm selling a fintech product, or rather, I'm working in the marketing team of a fintech company, and majorly this fintech startup is aiming to build solutions that help people, especially Nigerians that love to hold cash, help them make payments faster, more like OP. So you're able to make payments faster at any time of the day. So if I want to create a buyer persona, I told you it's a fictional representation of who my target audience is. I can just pick a name of a person and say, okay, this is Ngozi. That's the fictional character. Ngozi is a trader and probably has issues with most of the time when her customers are trying to send her money. So we understand that the name of the fictional character in the buyer persona is Ngozi. The problems Ngozi is facing most of the time when she's trying to make payments or her customers are trying to pay to her, they usually have issues as a result of bank issues and all of that, bank downtime and network issues majorly. So what, for instance, OPay is going to do is that she can always have her customers can always make payments to her quickly. She doesn't have to worry about, okay, this bank is having issues, this bank is having issues. They can make payments to her quickly. So that is already that is already written down in my buyer persona. So I have the name as Ngozi, her pain point, her day-to-day task, and how this product can solve her problem. So what that does is that as you create a buyer persona, that's a fictional character of who your target audience is, it helps you to tailor your content. It makes you tailor your content to one person. So you feel like you're talking to majorly one person, and this is how I can help you solve your problems. So you're not just trying to general in what you're saying. So the more you know about your audience, the better equipped you'll be to create valuable content. So this is just an idea of what understanding your target audience is. It's not major. It's not just okay. Knowing that okay, these are the people I intend to sell to. Understand deeply their interests, because this is probably a way that your competitors would use to outsmart you, by understanding in-depthly the problems of what the target audience is going through, and then find ways to be able to solve this problem creatively. Next thing is to define your goals. Now that you know, okay, this is who I intend to reach out to, or these are the people that I intend to sell my product to. So how do I intend to reach out to them? So after what's it called? After finding out who they are, the next thing is to set KPIs. What do I intend to achieve as a business? I don't just want it to be that okay, I'm selling shoes and I have an Instagram page. How else do I want to provide value? What's the target at the end of 6 months? What do I intend to achieve at the end of 6 months or 3 months by probably running ads or posting or getting an influencer to help me post? What exactly do I intend to achieve? I'll ensure that your goals are aligned with your business objectives. And once you have your goals in place, the deliberate goals that you've written down, you can work closely with them to achieve your goals as a business. The next thing is to carry out a content audit. So if you've already started out your content process and you've started out your content process without prior knowledge on how to go about the content strategy, it's important that at this point where you've already done a re-evaluation of who your target audience is, with adequate research on what their problems are and how to solve their problem and how to go about solving their problem, the next step is to look back at what you've done. So how well have I been able to create previous content that I have created for my business? And what's the track record of the content I've created? How best can I reevaluate the content I've created? And what do I need to discard? What do I need to take out? What do I need to improve on? So basically, that's what content auditing is all about. The next thing is to create a content plan. And basically, what I've seen is that there are actually diverse ways to work with content plans depending on what the tax is or what the business entails. So after you've done your content audit, that's if you're not just starting out or you've already written down your goals. How then do you meet these goals? So basically, from a practical point of view, a content plan is more like a it's usually in tabular form. So I've decided that I'm going to put my business out there online. How do I intend to do this? What platforms do I intend to use for my for 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 my content strategy? Why do I need to use this platform for my content strategy? Why is it important that I use Facebook? Why is it important that I even decide to write blogs or newsletters? Why is it important that I don't use Twitter? Because my target audience may not be on Twitter. So all of this will be put out on your content plan, well detailed, and you outline the what you intend to achieve by using every channel that you put out there. So if I want to use Instagram, what's the goal that I intend to achieve from using Instagram? So basically, as a B2B, there's this notion that B2B, that's business to business companies don't necessarily use Instagram, or they just use Instagram as just to mark a register. So just know that, okay, we have an online presence on that space, but we're not necessarily going to make massive effort to put out marketing strategies on Instagram. But I feel like different things work for different people, because we still have B2B businesses that use what's it called? That use Instagram. So you get to understand the platforms, understand how well it works for your business. And it's good that when you're starting out, you're open to experimenting, because you might feel that at the initial stage, Instagram might be good for you. And then later on, the algorithms change and you're like, okay, how best am I able to tweak my efforts and maybe move to LinkedIn or something else, just depending on what your business demands at every point in time. So this content plan is prone to change, and regularly or normally, it's important to create a content plan within like the first 3 months. So it's you're liable to change your content plan after like 3 months, but most of the time it's quite important that you stick with 3 months, so that you don't create a content plan that becomes stale over time. So you get to work with it gradually. And then the next thing is, after you've revamped your whole strategy on how to go about your content, you publish what you've created. And this is very simple. You put your content out there on the platforms that you intend to use. So for instance, I've written a blog post. How then do I get this blog post to gain more traction? I can write copies as in the form of Twitter threads to link people back to the website or to the article that I just wrote. I can also get to repurpose it on LinkedIn. I can also get to repurpose on Facebook and probably run an ad if there is a need to, or Instagram. So there are diverse ways to do this thing. You don't just post and leave it there. You still get to share it to other platforms that your business will be relevant in. And then the next thing is to measure your success. So it's very important that you're not just posting, because one of the things that I found out when starting early, because for instance, like most people that probably just hire like for instance, if a layman is hiring you to handle their social media account, they just want you to post for them. Really, you're like, I just want to get 1,000 followers at the end of this month. They don't care if the followers are bought or if the followers are engaging. Do you get? But it's up to you to have this plan. This is what I intend to achieve. This is the engagement I intend to have at the end of a particular period of time. So when you remember you previously wrote your goal. So you now get to measure your success. How far have I been able to come with this success? What can I get to improve? So what metrics will you use to measure the success of your content? Are you increasing brand awareness as a business in its early stage? Have I been able to introduce my business online properly? And if I'm not doing it well, what can I get to tweak? How can I make my, for instance, graphic design more interesting for people to want to engage my content? Or is it the way I'm posting? Are my copies interesting enough for people to continue reading? Am I like, what exactly am I doing wrong, and how can I improve? So have I been able to increase brand awareness, generate leads, or even drive sales? Because that's the main aim of all the activities that you've been trying to put out. So track key metrics to measure the effectiveness of your content strategy, like website traffic, the number of visitors and page views on your website within a particular period of time. If, for instance, you were able to track or write in your goal that, okay, at the end of 3 months, I should be able to have published 4 articles on a particular keyword, and this is the keyword I intend to rank for. And within 6 months, you see that, okay, I've been able to rank for this keyword. Because one thing is, it's possible to rank for a particular keyword and not get traffic. And there are several dynamics to this. So you get to that, you now have to sit down and find out, okay, is it possible that the people who are now ranking for this keyword and getting traffic are running ads? And how are they running their ads? What similar keywords are they using to run their ads that I can as well use to create my own ad, so that I'm not just ranking on the first page of Google search engine, I'm also getting traffic that leads to sales at the end of the day. Also, engagement, measure social media likes, shares, and comments. And very importantly, I feel like, I don't know how to put this, but I feel that over time, social media metrics like likes, shares, and comments, I relate to them as vanity metrics, because I've worked closely with people who are so obsessed with numbers and not value. So this is how it is. You're working with, especially if it's in a B2B setting, and you have somebody just coming and the person is obsessed with the fact that, oh, we're supposed to get 5,000 followers at the end of last month. I find it weird, because I'm like, why are you so obsessed with getting followers when you're not an influencer, or you're not hiring bots on your page? So it's important that even if you want to track your social vanity metrics, as I like to call it, ensure that these metrics are tied to a decision, which is, okay, these people that are following my page are probably on the waiting list of people that would make a decision or buy from me later. You get? So this is why you probably have access to them through their email, so you can send emails to them for a follow-up. People will not just follow you like that. So ensure that the vanity metrics are tied to people that legit want to make a decision. And then conversions, track how your content contributes to lead generation. So you're not just posting or writing an article that would rank. How would this article lead people to making a decision? So once I read the article and I get to the CTA, I'm like, okay, this article was able to outline the pain points that I have, and I'm going to probably subscribe for a free trial. And as soon as I'm done with the free trial, I'm like, okay, this is it, and I'm willing to make a decision and pay for the services that you provide. So that's just an example of how to measure your success. And then the next thing is make adjustments, improve as you go. So this is very, very important, because I feel like most of the time while creating content, you always would always have to experiment. And sometimes the experiments don't end well, but it's part of the process of having to learn as you go. So ensure that you're open to experimenting and analyze your data to gain insight. So you have what's it called? You have your metrics that you're always tracking, and you're working deliberately with this data that you have in mind. So for instance, you check your Twitter, your Twitter analytics for the month of June, and you're like, okay, at so point in June, probably on the 15th of June, my engagement dropped. And you find out, okay, what was I doing on the 15th from the 15th of June? What kind of content was I putting out from the 15th of June? How else do I get to tweak this content? What happened from the 15th of June that caused a downward slope? Was there an algorithm change? And how can I effectively adjust to the algorithm change so that my engagement doesn't keep dropping? Identify trends, patterns, and areas for improvement. So that's still tied to working closely with data to improve your content performance. And basically that's about making adjustments. Just get to constantly keep improving as you go, because a whole lot of things keep changing and you don't want to get caught up in the past simply because you're just focused on, okay, this is how I've always known it to be. So it's important that you're open to change and flexible enough to make adjustments at every point in time. And finally, in creating quality content, so I try to make this as brief as possible because I know how broad this whole content strategy thing can be. And basically, I mentioned that it's important that you create really high quality content to stand out, because everybody's creating content. Trust me, everybody. And even if you want to sell shoes, you find so many people selling shoes on Instagram. Do you get? So how do I preach originality, or how do I build a sense of trust in what I'm doing, that even if somebody has not bought from me before, just by merely looking at my page, this person will want to do business with me. Even if the person doesn't have money at that point in time, the person will save the post and be like, okay, as soon as I get money, I'd like to buy from this person. So ensure that your content is quality, your content stands out from the competition. And this is very important because as much as everybody, for instance, is writing, and I was talking with someone yesterday and I was like, I find it difficult to edit work at times, like written work, because I think that we have many people that are tagged as content writers, but not necessarily good content writers. And so having to edit this work is a lot of job for me. And I was relating my experience back then to when I was working with a Web3 publication in the UK in 2021. And one of the major issues I had was that I think I had to work as an editor in the publication. And the major issue I had was, it's not that these people were not writing. They were writing articles on blockchain and all of that. They were writing like really, really long articles. But that was not my problem. My problem was these articles were not original. So I spent more time having to edit, because the editing is more like I'm rewriting this by myself, or having to check for plagiarism issues. And most of the people that I worked with, especially like the new writers that we had come on board, were fond of plagiarizing. So I had to most of the time send these articles back to them. And why we had to send it back to them is because we had a standard that we're trying to build. You don't just allow any type of article. Maybe other publications would, but you can't stand out from the competition if you're posting the same thing that another person is posting. Do you get? So especially in terms of SEO, and Google already has like guidelines that prohibit people posting directly from another website to another website. It's allowed if I intend to republish my content on another website. So the thing is, I would get to introduce a canonical link telling Google that this article was first of all published on this website, but not practically just dubbing from another website. And I found it awkward, because I was like, so people, like, they're paying you to write and you just go and dub from somewhere. And one of the writers told me something that uses a plagiarism checker after copying or dubbing her articles from somewhere. And if the plagiarism checker shows her that, okay, we're able to tweak this article to like 30%, it means that the article is good to go. I'm like, really? Like, why would you have to put yourself through all that stress to dub an article directly from the internet and then try to change it. Really, that's not how original content is being made. It's important that you understand the subject matter and the problem that you're trying to solve and communicate that effectively. And there's something that Google started, I think, towards the ending of last year. It's called Google Helpful Content Guide. I can't remember what it is exactly, but the acronym is EEAT. And basically what Google is trying to do is, as much as we know that, okay, we have AI content around us, it's important that we are still able to answer questions that humans ask. So we don't just want you to dub or lift something from ChatGPT and post on the internet. This thing that you're getting from ChatGPT should be relevant enough to answer a question. And then that way we give you credit for that article, and then you get to rank and gain traffic. Because most people have found the easy way out, like, okay, I can just write an article with ChatGPT. And no, it doesn't work that way. Because there are times when I needed to do like a technical stuff. I was doing a research and I was trying to find out, okay, based on everybody is saying that ChatGPT is good for me to just write my article fast. I was like, okay, let me try this out. And I gave ChatGPT a technical article to write about, and it just wrote it in like 150 words. And I was like, so this is what people would now go and post online. Of course, Google will flag that content as irrelevant. There is just no way that even if you created your own content, your article faster than I did, there's just no way that if you check the first probably 200 pages of Google on that particular subject matter, that you find your article. Do you get? So it's actually more exhausting to create original content. And I'm telling you this from a practical point of view, because I know what it takes to create content. It takes a lot, but I think it actually pays, because most of the time when I see baby content that I've written for businesses ranking on Google, and I'm like, okay, I actually put in the work to provide a relevant research before embarking on this journey to writing this article. I conducted a relevant research, and I was able to write this content in a way that humans would interact with. So I'm not writing a content simply because I just lifted it from the from ChatGPT or bad AI. So humans can be able to interact, and Google would give credit for that article, and it would find its spots on probably number one. You get? So it pays to create quality content, original content. And that's the major way that you can stand out. It takes time, but like with time, you get to find out ways to get better at it and even probably get faster. But it's not something that you should rush if you have a plan. Address your audience's pain points and provide solutions. So I'll still go back to like having from a B2B setting. So we don't just write articles because, okay, we just want to write and to show people that we know how to write. You get? There is a lot of work that goes in at the background, behind the scenes, where we get to carry out keyword research, get to find out, okay, what kind of questions are people asking about on Google? How is this question relevant to the problem that we're trying to solve? So let me make this more practical and use like the previous company I worked with. So for instance, I worked with a data infrastructure company, and what this company does is that they help businesses that produce massive data to be able to analyze their data seamlessly, because we understand that data can be very dirty, especially when you're generating it. So these businesses need to be able to make decisions with this data in real time. So what the company I worked with did is they already have an infrastructure in place. What you have to do is just subscribe. I think you subscribe every month, and you just bring in your data into the infrastructure. So you're just paying, it's more like you're paying for rent, and you use the infrastructure. You don't have to bother about maintenance. Do you get? So if I have like a team of people that worked under me, like content marketing associates and all of that, content writers and interns, and we intend to target a particular audience because we released a feature in the data infrastructure. So we intend to target a particular audience that possibly has never heard about a data infrastructure, but they have pain points that they have pain points that address daily tasks, like maybe, for instance, every day they generate massive data, but they don't know how to make use of it. So this data is just stored somewhere, and at the end of the day, they discard the data because they don't know what to use this data for. And this is actually costing them a lot of money, because as much as, okay, they feel like we've been able to take off that space where this data was staying, that data that was probably discarded would have been relevant in providing a decision or insights for the future. And they just discarded it like that because they didn't know what to do. So if I want to write an article, I can start by finding out, okay, what are the problems that people have with dirty data? What problems do they have? And also, how have they been able to solve this problem? So it's not just okay that these people have a problem, because you find out that even though they have a problem, they found another solution. What is the challenge of that solution? So maybe they were able to find a solution that helps them to actually like clean their data and all. But the problem with this is that the solution or the infrastructure is scattered. So they are cleaning their data here, they are transforming their data in this place, they're ingesting their data from another place. So the process is scattered, like the process is split into different places, and the cost acquired for all of this is more. So they already have a problem, they have a solution, but that solution is not relevant for them enough. So we now provide our own solution, meaning that, okay, this solution, you can just bring your data, you ingest it, you clean and transform it in one place, and then you save cost. And you do this in little time. So that way, we've been able to address their problem, having issues with dirty data, the problems that they also faced with trying to get a solution, which is like splitting their data management across many vendors, and then we introduce our solution. So this is important when writing the article. And I'm trying to see if I can get a sample to show you so that everything I'm saying makes sense. But yeah, so that's very important in terms of providing relevance to the article that you're writing or content that you're providing. It should be able to answer a question, because if you want to provide a solution to people, trust me, people on the internet are quite intelligent. So if you want to say that your solution is the best, what makes your solution better than other solutions that are available? So you need to be able to provide that particular thing that makes yours different. And then finally, use storytelling techniques and multimedia elements to captivate your audience. And this is something that I always look out for. For instance, if I'm looking at your website, and I feel like maybe because I've worked closely with content, I can tell if a company was able to lift a content from ChatGPT just to paste on their website, because I won't feel engaged. It's more like bots are interacting. And as much as that saved them a lot of time, like, okay, we don't have to get a copywriter to run an A/B testing to find out which copies are better. It's also, to me, I just feel like this is not engaging enough. It's not telling a relevant story. And you may not necessarily attract the right audience that you need. So, and use storytelling techniques and multimedia elements, use quality pictures, videos, and other media content that you have available to captivate your audience. It's always important that you use storytelling to captivate your audience. And storytelling is a very broad aspect of content strategy. And I feel like there's no manual to learning how storytelling works, but you learn by basically, how do I put it? By looking at other people's content, not just looking at other people's content. There's something I always do. I get to involve my mind to think. So let me give you an instance. I had a friend come over to Lagos, and we had like work to do. And while this friend was telling me like, okay, these are the types of content I'm supposed to create for the startup, while I was like, the person was just telling me, bombarding me with what I was supposed to do. And at that point I was blank, but as the person was talking to me, I had already pictured in my head what like 5 documents was going to look like. So I feel everybody's thought process is different, but how I work with storytelling in terms of content is, as the idea for the content is coming, okay, this is the type of content we intend to launch this product, blah, blah, blah. I just have many story ideas coming up in my head, like how best do we get to do this? And then I now get to streamline my thoughts. Okay, this is what we're going to do. I write them down. This is how we should do it. This is not how we should do it. And then I put it out and also get to edit and edit and edit and edit till it gets to its final stage. So it's very important that you carry out storytelling. You're not just telling people that this is what you're selling. Why do people need to get interested in what you're selling? And then another very important thing I think I left out is that building an effective content strategy is not majorly about selling to your audience, because one of the things that you would find from like successful content marketing companies, for instance, let's take HubSpot. As much as HubSpot provides like CRM services for businesses, they also get to provide value to their audience. So HubSpot didn't start by selling a service to us. They started by engaging, teaching their target audience, teaching them, providing value to them. So most of the time, depending on what your business entails, you shouldn't have to be focused on selling. Today, I'll just post about and let them buy this. Tomorrow, I'll post about let them buy this. And this is very important if you're working in like a B2B setting, because you will not just post a link and tell people they should come and sign up. Sign up for what? They need to understand why it's important. Even if they won't buy from you, like they don't have a business, they should also be able to learn from you. This is why like thought leaders content is very important. So you're able to showcase authority in what you know, and you provide quality content in that aspect. So that way you're also getting to teach a group of people, which may not necessarily be associated with buying from you. But I feel that these people are loyal fans in a way. So they might be following you and they understand what you do and they're genuinely rooting for you and they love the content that you provide, that you produce. However, they may not have the financial resources to purchase what you're selling. But if there is a need for a recommendation, these people would recommend you without any fee. You get? So this is why it's important to build a strong community of people who understand what you do and can recommend you effortlessly. So I think with this, I was able to summarize in roughly 12 steps what's content, how to create a quality content strategy. And if you have like further questions, you can always reach out to me. But yeah, if you have very crucial questions, you can reach out to me now. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Esther. Even though you're attacking people like me that like using AI tools for content creation. You just attack people like me that love using it.
People are becoming
like,
reliant on it. And
yeah,
I feel like
I absolutely understand what you're trying to say. Like,
yeah,
every one of us, even Mr. Sam is agreeing with me that he's one of us that like using AI tools for content creation. So I absolutely agree with you though. Like, if all of us start using AI tools all the time and nobody's using their head, it's going to be like everybody's just doing the same thing, and it's going to be very difficult to differentiate yourself from your competitors. I absolutely agree with that point here. So that particular point has actually pushed me, and I'm going to reduce my dependence on AI tools. So I'll try to create more original content and see how that goes. So personally, I picked up a lot of things, and I'm still waiting for. If you have any question, now would be the perfect time to ask. So most of these, I think I have a personal question now. Like most of what you said, yeah, most of your advice, you mentioned a lot of B2B, yeah.
yeah,
And I feel like most people here are B2Cs, like so they are business to customers here. Let's say a business that has a very little budget, for marketing and content creation, do you have any specific advice you can give them? People that have like, let's say, a few 100,000 or even lesser, and then they're trying to grow their business. Do you have any content? Do you have any advice that you can share for these people?
Yeah, sure. So let me give a practical example. So for instance, we have this product that we're building and we've not been able to launch. And we started, I think we actually started from January this year. And we're not able to launch, but we've been able to build the product. And in 6 months, we've been able to get about 100, not 100, we've been able to get over 100 downloads on Play Store. That's the app. And also we've been able to, like I was speaking with my friend last night, I was like, we've been able to process over 10 million naira in transactions. And that's a B2C approach because we are targeting individuals, you get. And majorly, I think the content strategy that we applied we've not spent any amount of money on marketing, but we've been able to provide value, and value in terms of what we are putting out. By the way, we don't even have an active social media page. So I think what we did was we're able to create a very good website with copies that are very practical. So when you read these copies, you're like, okay, these people are so Nigerian and I would like to do business with them. It doesn't sound like really a distant business or company that just posts on their website. So we're able, and that was like my major challenge when I came in, because I didn't want us to just do anything. And my friend told me we're not spending any money on marketing. So we didn't spend a dime. On marketing. We're trying to cut costs. And at the end of the day, it's just quite surreal to see how far the product has blossomed. Even we haven't launched the product yet, but we've gotten over 100 downloads on Play Store. I haven't checked for Apple Store, but also we've gotten reviews on Play Store, like people that we don't know, people that we didn't tell to endorse this platform. They're telling us, oh, this platform is good. It helped me to do this. I'm like, okay, wow, this is genuine feedback you get. So I feel like if you're starting out as especially a B2C, it's important that you're creating value in the content that you're creating. So I mentioned providing quality content. The media content you're putting out should be qualitative. Also, storytelling is free. You don't have to pay for it. Just engage your mind to see how you're going to reach out to your target audience. And that's something I did. It took me a while to think about the dynamics of how to get this done, but that was effective in the long run. So you won't have to pay for getting free images from maybe on Splash or Pixel or wherever. Use quality images. You could use Canva. You could ensure that you're using the right storytelling techniques, and that can fly. You don't necessarily have to run ads depending on what you're doing. Trust me, you can run a business without running ads, and there are ways to go about it. But yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Esther. I don't know if you have any other questions. If you don't have any other questions, then I just want to appreciate both speakers. Okay, Solomon wants to say something. So, Solomon, please. Solomon is another OG when it comes to marketing and content creation. Please, Solomon, go ahead. I think you can unmute yourself and ask a question.
Good morning. Hi, everyone. Thanks to Tribe Media for hosting this summit. I really learned a lot, most especially from this content session. I feel attacked. Apart from users, I also feel attacked when they made mention of the use of AI to generate content. But what I also do, I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I feel I will get answers. I do not really go there to generate random content without knowing what I want, but I write this content and then give it to polish it for me, then make it more presentable, just do one or two things I need to make it look better than what I wrote. Do you think that's a bad idea or it's something good to continue doing?
So I've actually experimented that a couple of times. There are times where I write something and I give ChatGPT or bad AI to polish it. And to be honest, there are days I'm like, no, 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 no. I've actually written better than this thing. Do you get? Because I would notice some inconsistency. So there are times where you find some words are just unnecessarily repeated. So at this point in time, I'm like, I don't think it's quite efficient for you to always rely on it to edit your content, because trust me, you would see that you can write a better text than any of these tools, because there are times when I tell it to help me edit or polish my content and it just goes overboard and it just changes the context of what I'm saying. So it depends on like how well you're able to manage this. There are times when it's able to answer your question properly and you can just tweak a few things, but I don't think it should majorly be like copy and paste. So you tell it, this is what I want you to do, and it does it, and you don't cross-check it, and you just go ahead to use it like that. So that's it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for those questions, Solomon. And thank you, Esther, too, for the response. So Sam is also saying something. Sam said that I personally think what we get from AI is what we give it. The quality of question gives you quality answers. You just need to be schooled in how to prompt it. Do you have anything to say to that, or Esther? Do you have anything to say to that particular statement that you just said?
Yeah, I think so. So I'm actually smiling because I've compared ChatGPT and bad AI. And personally, I think that bad AI is very stubborn. Like, personally, there are days I will tell you, do this, and you tell me I cannot do this. I'm like, what did they feed you with? What kind of data did they feed you with? So I'll just get upset. I'm like, no. So the other times I feel like ChatGPT might be too flexible and too rigid in terms of content. So there are times when I'll be like, write this copy like a human being and not a bot. But ChatGPT would always, most of the time, return a copy that looks like something that a bot wrote. But if you use bad AI in a way, it tends to write this thing like a human being wrote it. So I feel like, of course, yes, these machines would definitely, it's machine learning. So they learn from the data that they are fed with, and they would perform based on how they were trained or how they are trained, because they keep learning and they keep improving. But yeah.
Thank you so much, Esther. I really appreciate the session. Personally, you've attacked me. Solomon also said he attacked him, and I think he also attacked Sam. So, but I absolutely agree with the fact that for you to be able to stand out, you have to be able to create content yourself, because that's what's going to make everything about it original. So personally, yeah, I'm going to definitely reduce my over dependence on AI tools. So for you that for small businesses that are just starting, I won't tell you to just discard these tools. You can also just try to use them, but just make sure you edit anything it gives you. So on this note, I really want to appreciate everyone that stayed this far. I appreciate you taking our time. I hope you're able to get some value from sessions. Mr. Sam's session focused on goals, and he shared a lot of things also. While Esther talked about what's it called? Esther talked about content. So tomorrow we're going to be talking about, we're going to be doing some graphic design, because our target audience here is business owners. So, and then my session is also tomorrow, but tomorrow's session kicks off by 2. So I'm looking forward to seeing some of you here by tomorrow. So thank you so much. This is goodbye for me. I hope to see you guys tomorrow.